Okay, this video is called An Open Letter to Christians. So basically, what I've seen from an extensive study of history, religion, theology, and modern culture and science and medicine is basically without Christian ethics, things just get worse. When I say Christian ethics, it doesn't mean a person has to be a Christian. It just means they have to sort of accept the general idea of the Ten Commandments, of the New Testament, love thy neighbor, be nice, give people the benefit of the doubt, be forgiving. Man is created in the image of God, therefore entitled to natural rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, the right to free speech, privacy, and property, that sort of thing, okay? And the reason I say that is, there's a song, We Are the Light of the World. For Christianity, if you look at the history, it has brought so much freedom and opportunity and good things to mankind. Because I look at what's happening to the healthcare system, for example, and it is going down the tubes very rapidly. Don't get me wrong, it's had problems for a long time. Once it realized, back in the 1980s, it could make tons of money from selling drugs, it's pushing everything towards how to sell more drugs, how to not have accountability for selling drugs. And just an example of how bad healthcare has gotten. Look what's happening in Canada. They have something called MAID. MAID, which means medical assistance in dying. And they're basically encouraging people to commit suicide. And this includes young people, teenagers, even, of less than 18 years of age. It's insane. That's happening in Canada. Don't be surprised. That's coming to the USA soon if they get their way. And look what's happening in the public schools. These things are, they got rid of the Bible from the public schools in the 1960s. They got rid of singing, patriotic songs and stuff after that. And now in the schools, kids got so-called attention deficit, a made-up diagnosis, and they drug the kid, or they'll, confuse the kid, and they'll castrate them. They're giving the kids all kinds of estrogenic chemicals in the processed food and whatnot. So basically what it comes down to is the Democratic Party is the American Communist Party. And we're undergoing, you could even call it a revolution, where they're trying to just get more total control of the country. They've already had dominant control of the country, but they decided that's not enough for them. Now they want total control of the country. And they've got allies in the communist dictatorships all over the world, okay? And I think to some extent it seems that they work together, is my impression. I can only extrapolate these things from just reading, but it seems kind of obvious that is the case. And then you say, well, what's the long-term goal? I think the long-term goal is to decrease the population, currently in the ballpark of 8 billion, down to about 500 million, and to control, other than the Communist Party, almost everyone else basically as slaves. They want to centralize control of everything, because with centralization of control, for example, through the internet, it makes it easier for a small political party to control everyone else. They've rewritten all the American history books to make America look bad and racist, and to sort of discredit Christianity and the traditional family, to destroy good traditional things like Christian art. It's the best art in the world. Christian music. It's the best music in the world. So all of these unfortunate things are happening, and you'd like to just close your eyes and forget about them, but you can't. Reality is the thing that doesn't go away when you stop focusing on it for the moment. Okay, my background is, my mother's from Puerto Rico, my father's from Ireland, but I would rather live in the USA than South America or Mexico or anywhere else. And that's pretty much the opinion of people all over the world. They want to move to Christian countries. Okay, it's just a fact. So, America, keeps all the students in the schools in America are taught, oh, America's so evil, so bad, so racist. But why is it that everyone wants to move here? Literally, I don't know anybody that wants to move anywhere else. I'm sure some people exist who want to move to other countries, but they're relatively uncommon. I've never in my whole life said somebody wants to move somewhere else. Okay, and don't get me wrong, America was a much better country 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago than it is now. But it still has the potential to be a good country. We're rapidly descending into becoming another third world, crap hole like most countries in this world. Okay, everybody wants to move to these Christian countries, and lots of people want to move to Europe. Okay, they criticize Europe and make fun of Europe, but they want to move there. Okay, basically all the Caucasian Christian countries in the world are being destroyed right now by having an open, border. Okay, and no country in the world can exist with an open border. And also, ask yourself, what would happen if you went to some other country? Well, first of all, you would probably not be welcome, okay? Try going to Japan. Japan's got a lot of really successful good things, but they don't want a bunch of Americans coming into their place, yet alone a bunch of people from other countries. No, they would not be welcome. That's an important point. Whereas people are welcomed pretty easily into America by far comparison to other places. And it's because of the Christianity, the tolerance of it, the values of it being kind of open and thoughtful and nice. Everybody wants to come here, and also hardworking and prosperous. Everyone wants to come here, and traditionally low in crime, although that's changing, unfortunately. What else is happening? That this green energy stuff is, sometimes there's legitimate issues about the environment, but it's also true that sometimes things like this can be exploited to impoverish American people. Okay, we'll see what happens with solar. We'll see what happens with wind. But we know fossil fuels work, and we know there's tons more fossil fuels than is widely acknowledged. And okay, what else? I think the short-term goal of the Communist Party is to get rid of all the white men. And the reason I say that is because traditionally they are the most resented group of people. And the reason is they wrote the Declaration of Independence saying all men are entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They basically have made the Bible part of American traditional morals and values right from the beginning of the country. And that includes that man is created in the image of God, which is an essential thing because it says that he's part divine, as well, of course, as being part beast. But the part divine component of him means that he should be treated kindly, fairly, have rights, free speech, right to speak, right to be, proven innocent until otherwise noted. Innocent until otherwise noted. Okay, so all of that is good. As far as I can tell, the Dems don't think that any other group in America is significant. What I mean by significance, they think everyone else is either too small in number or for whatever the reason, very easy to control. And therefore, they scapegoat white Christians, especially white Christian men, because they want to remove them from society. Because once they are gone, there is no other group, in the opinion of the Dems, that has any ability to stop complete communist takeover of this country. And if you look at, for example, McKinsey Consultants, which were at Best Buy and hundreds of other companies, they would basically say no whites allowed for management training. Now, could you imagine if that was said about any other ethnic group? I mean, like I said, it's easy for me to see things from both sides because I can see it completely 100% as a Hispanic and I can see it 100% as an Irishman or whatever. And I can tell you, I remember back in the 1800s, there were signs all over the place saying no Irish need apply, okay? And this is the same thing. What they want to do is deny them a chance for management training so they can never get promoted, they can never make more money. And it's also, in a lot of cases, that's how affirmative action is used as a bribe. Basically saying, look, help us to get rid of all these other people and we'll give you more jobs and more opportunities. At med schools nowadays, they don't even have grades for the first 2 years of classes, and they don't have grades either on the first boards exams called Step 1. And the reason for that is if you no longer have any objective measurement of academic ability, then residency selections will not be based on academic ability. They're going to be based on some other criteria. Okay, the students are taught in the public grade schools and high schools this so-called critical race theory or something, which basically they're teaching them to hate white people, so they'll beat them up and remove them from society. If you look on the internet, you'll see videos about what they call them Karens, which is a Caucasian female. They're being mocked and disgraced, and the idea is to make it sort of cool, socially popular to physically abuse these people, okay? You want to talk about misogyny, there it is in a big way. Okay, you got pro athletes making millions of dollars a year and they won't stand for the national anthem. But they don't ever want to leave the United States. Nobody wants to leave the United States. Everybody loves to criticize it, mock it, but nobody wants to leave. Okay, because they know that you go somewhere else, it's even worse. Traditionally, that has been the case. And sadly, there's like no great place to go anymore. It used to be somebody was in a country where things were bad, they'd go to the United States. But nowadays, with the United States disappearing, where do you go? There's no good place to go. So again, step one will be to, get rid of the white Christian population. And then once they're gone, first the white Christian men, then the white Christian women. And once they are all gone, then the goal is to enslave the rest of the population. And this is not my opinion. People say, well, that's just your opinion. No, all of this stuff is in writing, and it's been in writing for decades. It's just that you're not going to find it in the well-known sites. Okay, the well-known sites are not going to publish this stuff. But if you go to all the other places, there's lots of other places you can go for information. You will find that all of this information has been available for decades, and it is well-known. It's not like this is some mystery. Okay, the other thing the elites like is they like, this word right here. I'll just give you the first two letters, P-E hyphen space D hyphen space O hyphen space philia. Okay, they don't want Christian rules about behavior and respect for life and children, stopping them from doing what they want to do with children, okay? And they want to traffic them. They want to do all kinds of things with them that is really terrible. But if you will find out, there's tons of information on this. Again, this has been known for a long time, and this is happening in a very big way. In addition, they've already started attempts to clone humans in other places, and that is, I think, something that a lot of the rich people that control the world want to do. Okay, the American population is being sterilized. I gave a lecture recently about how processed food is used to sterilize people. Okay, and that's not only not the only technique that is being used to sterilize people. Multiple things are being done, including all the estrogenic chemicals in the tap water, including the stuff sprayed in the sky, etc., done to drop the fertility rate of the United States. And if it was so important to drop the fertility rate of the United States and lower the United States population, then why would they want to have open things to the south, BORD hyphen ER, border? Because they want to get rid of the native population. It's not that they want no population. They want to get rid of the native population. And I think they see the influx done this way to a way to speed things up. They're potentially also going to be voters. Right now, if you look, just go on other sites, you'll see this is all well known. There's tons and tons of videos of this, etc., etc. Men of military age coming in from Venezuela, from China, from Russia, from other countries. Many, many thousands every day into the USA. The USA population is being put in a situation where they're less able to protect themselves. They're intentionally being made helpless to these persons crossing over the line of the country. They are seen as future Democrat voters supporting their party. They're also seen as replacements for the people who maintain security for this country inside and abroad. And I think what the idea is about there is if you look at history, if you look at the Philippines, for example, in the 1980s, like with Marcos, he had a problem because his security service, they were Christians themselves and they liked the Christians, so they refused to abuse the citizenry. And so I think part of what this is all about, this is just my speculation, but I think it's based on a lot of historical information, is they want people that are willing to follow orders and not care at all about the rights or the lives of the citizens. Okay, if you understand what that means. Okay, and again, this is happening in almost all Caucasian Christian countries. It's happening in Ireland, it's happening in England, it's happening in France, it's happening in Italy, Australia, USA, Sweden, and other places. Okay, and they're trying to make it happen in the few places where it's not fully happening yet. No country can exist without a border. What else do I see happening? You know, in the sterilizations from the tap water, it goes on and on. For a long time, they're using sort of the old Roman policy of divide and conquer. Like one of the first things is try to destroy families. And they do that in part with unfair divorce laws. And that favors an emotional woman having a hissy fit, suddenly saying she wants a divorce and then not being willing to admit she overreacted such that the family's destroyed. I've seen lots and lots of kids destroyed by divorce. Very often the children react to it much worse than is widely acknowledged. I've seen lots of guys dropping out of school, becoming drug addicts, even committing suicide. It's amazing what a big effect parental divorce often has on children. Plus, when children grow up without parents, they don't tend to develop as well. Children who grow up without a father or a man in the house role model, the boys are much more likely to have discipline problems, get into lots of trouble, have problems with impulse control. The girls are much more likely to have problems with promiscuity, substance abuse. And I think society is heavily being feminized because there's no such thing as a gynocracy in the real world. When you feminize society, it's less able to defend itself. And that's where America is right now. People are almost confused. Defend ourselves? What do you mean defend ourselves? This is United States. United States, everything is great, okay? We don't want to be racist. We want diversity. Open the border. Let everyone in. Well, a country should allow people in based on whether or not there's jobs for them, based on whether or not there's a need for some skill that they have. For example, if you have a shortage of engineers, then bring in some engineers. If you have a shortage of, whatever. But America has such a big population. It's pretty good at producing almost everything it needs by itself. It doesn't need that many people to come in, okay? In addition, traditional good things are being destroyed. The statues are being toppled over. Good art is being replaced by this fake modern art stuff, which is so vulgar. You can tell modern art is bogus because anything a child could do doesn't require talent or training, so that's fake, okay? And modern art, like I said, in Rotterdam and other places, you got statues in art museums of feces, okay? It's amoral, it's immoral, it's disgusting to any intelligent person. And there's also all the schools push this idea of Darwin and atheism, and that is actually the religion of communism. You can call it secular humanism, you can call it atheistic Darwinism, and the important point about it is it says that there's no such thing as humans. They're simply an animal that talks, a monkey that talks. And once you say that humans are just a monkey that talks, what you're basically saying is they have no rights, nothing except for what the ruler gives them. Good institutions like the Boy Scouts are being destroyed. I was in the Boy Scouts. It was good. It wasn't that important that big of a deal to me, but it was a good thing. Good families, good people, and you learn some good things and socialize in a positive way. The elites say that they think about 50% of jobs are going to be taken over by artificial intelligence. Now, I don't know exactly what that's going to be, but they're already saying that most of the population is simply useless eaters. And remember, the elites think that they own the population like a bunch of farm animals. And if you think you own the population like a bunch of farm animals, and the farm animal's not making money for you, then they are a useless eater. And this same verbal terminology was used in the 1930s by you-know-who, okay? That is what rulers and elites say about people when they want to get rid of them. They start calling them useless eaters, okay? So that is what is being said about the American people. In addition, much of the food supply has been damaged, destroyed, or lost. Okay, when they spray, up in the sky, that's not good for the soil. That's not good for the food. When rivers are ruined by chemicals spilled into rivers, that's not good for the food. So that's a problem. Okay, and like I said, the border is a disaster. It's a disaster, everywhere, the southern border of the USA. And so I also think that what they want is some form of chaos, because chaos allows imposition of increased control. That old saying, what is it? Never waste a crisis. It's a time of opportunity to impose tighter control on the citizenry. And I think also to increase, further blocking the idea of free hyphen speech, they're likely to even that what's being said. Do I know for sure this next thing is true? No, I don't. But there's a heck of a lot of talk about it by people who claim they know that they're going to have the internet crash this winter, blame it on a hacker, and then because of that, force everybody to log in before they do anything on the internet. And the idea is, again, to be able to track everything a person does, and if they do anything that the Dems don't want, they will then be have a lowering of their social credit score. And that's why they want things like electronic cars and a cashless society. So everything a person does can be controlled externally, and anybody who doesn't obey every new arbitrary rule that comes along will have their social credit score lowered and eventually get them into 15-minute cities, and then basically just decide which ones they want kept for some purpose, slave labor or something, and decide which ones they want to get rid of, okay? Because it'll be very, very easy to control them. And again, it all comes down to the idea of humans. Are they individual, partly divine creatures that live independently on their own, or are they, farm animal possessions of the ruler? And the rulers want them to be farm animal possessions, no doubt about it. They want to have, children to please them for their craziness, and they want to have that ability, total control. So anyways, I'm sorry to bring all this unfortunate news, but it's better that people are aware of it. And what can be done? I don't know. I mean, there's an election coming up next year. Hopefully things will go better in that one. But simply being aware of it for what that's worth, I think that might be able to help people, at least some. So hopefully some freedom and free speech and opportunity and creativity and goodness and Christian-like ethics will remain in society. I certainly hope so. Nobody knows. I'm not scared of getting any disease, but I am worried about all this stuff, and I think everybody should be concerned about it. So anyways, Merry Christmas.